If there's one thing that every Dragon Ball Z fan can agree on, it's how hype seeing Trunks show up for the first time was. Shutting down Frieza's revenge plot, killing him, his dad, and his subordinates without breaking a single sweat. We just seen Goku go through the most vigorous training, and mentally draining, bars, time in his entire life, unlocking a mystical golden form in the process. And then not 2 episodes later, disregarding filler, we see this random punk teen with a goddamn sword use the form at will like it's literally nothing. Trunks from this moment was on track to be my GOAT. When you peak that early in a story, it's only bound to get worse, and the character becomes less receptive. And that's exactly what happened to Trunks. Within the next arc, kicking off, Trunks had lost all of his cool points, and I'ma talk why I think that. So first off, after beating up Frieza in Cold, Trunks kinda immediately takes a backseat for the Z Fighters, which I gleaned is the start of a trend we will see.
Get the hell out of here!
After returning from the future during the next arc, Trunks immediately starts taking L's. The first thing he does is, well, him just being there kinda fucked up the whole timeline from the jump. Now we got 2 more androids, a cyborg on the loose, and Trunks just ends up shitting his pants at these revelations. Like, come on bro, you can't be the same guy who showed up last time. Please tell me that was a different future Trunks. Anyways, Trunks does nothing in these fights, crashes out against Gero,
It will be the end of all of us! No!
and ultimately just gets his shit rocked with the other Z Fighters. Nothing really feels the same as it did when he first showed up, and from here up until he comes out of the time chamber, he is either getting beat up or mentally getting beat up by the revelations that him coming here was useless, and his dad disowning him. By the way, I'm aware that Trunks coming to the future wasn't useless, but at the time, with all these revelations happening, I can't help but feel he must have felt him coming to help made things worse somehow. Anyway, enough about that. Let's just talk about what happens when he gets out. Him and Vegeta go to take on Cell, instead of, for some reason, just going to kill Android 18, and things start off pretty decent. You would expect Trunks to just rush in with pure anger and one-shot Cell, splitting his atoms into dust, but no. He just stands there and watches Vegeta toy with him. Like, dude, you can't tell me he isn't fast enough for that, when he literally does that against Cell. And yes, it would be a very boring story if Trunks just pulled up and one-shot Cell, but I mean, was it boring when he did it against Frieza? To be fair, it is different here. There's nothing to set up for Cell afterward, but that doesn't excuse it in-universe. Trunks just not doing anything about it until it's too late is literally the opposite vibe of what his introduction was like. Trunks gets so strong that he thinks him alone can defeat this threat, instead of maybe relying on his friends or family, like, I don't know, his dad. He waits until all resources are exhausted and then decides to put matters into his own hands, finally becoming the hero from the future he was destined to be. And well, that worked out as well as anyone thought it would. I feel like this flaw demonstrated here just isn't brought up enough when I'm talking about Trunks. A lot of the hate comes from the Goku Black arc, which trust me, I will get into that, but moments that paints Trunks like this have been a thing since he showed up. The feeling that he gave off when he first touched down was, okay, this is the guy who won't ask questions, he just gets to work. And in a show where the characters talk as much as they fight, it was genuinely refreshing to see this, and even me as a kid had a similar thought. So when I see this guy looking like he's on the brink of suicide against the one being he was supposed to free the future from, it just makes me wonder what went wrong. And look, I get it. We could say for writing purposes, plot purposes, editor note purposes, or any other reason you can come up with that shit didn't pan out for this kid. And I don't take DBZA as canon or revolve my modern thoughts around it, but I feel like Tien said it best.
Because he could have A, killed Android 18, B, killed Cell, or C, killed Vegeta!
Trunks stopped his usual flow of being about action before anything, pretty much right after Goku came back. After this, Trunks kinda does nothing, except take one more L against Cell, goes back to his timeline where everyone is dead, and kills the androids and Cell. It didn't feel deserved. Trunks pretty much learned nothing from his trip to the past. Hell, he didn't even interact with Gohan, his literal mentor he saw dead on the ground. He barely spoke to him unless he had to. Anyway, we don't hear from Trunks until years later. He's again taking L's in his own timeline. so he has to run back to Daddy to come help him beat up evil Goku. I'm not going to spend a while on the super part, because I really don't like the arc, so I will make it quick. Trunks sucks in this arc. He does nothing but whine about his scenario, crashes out at unprecedented times, and lets Goku and Vegeta solve his problem until it comes for that classic Toei plot power-up, giving Trunks a new bullshit form at the cost of nothing. At this point, Trunks lost everything that made him who he was, in my opinion. He just feels like a shitty Gohan in this arc. And oh yeah, fuck Super Saiyan Rage. That form is dog shit and is the pinnacle of what makes Trunks shitty. So yeah, that's why I consider Trunks to be a not so great character. He was at first, but they fleshed him out by regressing him, which really makes his cool factor die hard. And yeah, I just thought I'd give my thoughts on why I don't like Trunks. Kind of a more chill, unscripted video. The intro was a bit scripted, but then I just started ranting. So sorry about that. If you enjoyed, subscribe and like, maybe do any of that stuff. You don't have to, but it would make my day. Anyway, that's all I had to talk about. Take care.